In the practice we're going to be doing today, we're building on a practice based on exhale suspension. I just taught a practice where you can see the stepping stones of getting more and more confident and understanding the experience of exhale suspension. To check that video out, look here on our YouTube channel. This one's going to go a little bit further into that, moving actually towards the beginning of Uddiyana Bandha. So there's exhale pause, exhale suspension, and then there's this whole exhale suspension into the vacuuming of the inner body called Uddiyana Bandha. Uddiyana means flying upwards. So in Uddiyana Bandha, energy is flying upwards, and we need to know how to get there safely and well. So in this video, we're going to be exploring some ways to make that happen and just touching into, and then exploring it, each of us at our own pace. Let me know what questions you have by leaving those down below the video or comments as well. And if you have yet to subscribe to the channel, please do so. I really appreciate the support. We're trying to give content out to the yoga community and the Dharma community, just really on behalf of the greater good. So go ahead and subscribe and hit the like button if this video works well for you. Thank you, and I'll see you in the practice. Namaste. Yeah, good morning and welcome back for practice. So in this pranayama session, we'll be going into the exhale suspension once again. So let's begin with a comfortable seat. You're welcome to close your eyes and allow your attention to come inward and downward. And to support yourself in arriving and then feeling comfortable with the process of pranayama, let's lengthen the spine and drop the shoulders. And just giving yourself permission for all five senses to arrive here. As you breathe in, listen to the sounds that surround you. As you breathe out, relax into that which listens through you. So breathe in, sense both the sound and the space in which sound is happening. As you breathe out, listen for that which listens through you. And do that one more time. Breathe in, listening to the present moment, whatever it holds. And as you breathe out, relax again into that which is listening through you. And then keeping the crown of your skull lifted and your head centered, the eyes will stay closed. As you inhale, glide your gaze to your left without moving your head. Exhale, return your gaze to center using the full length of the exhale to do so. And inhale, glide your gaze to the right. And exhale, allow your gaze to return to center at the pace of the breath cycle. Let's do that again to the left and the right. Notice how it is to move your gaze at the pace of your breathing. As you return to center, rest in that which gazes through your eyes, whether they're closed or open. We're going to add to the movement of the eyes. If you think of left as 3 p.m. and right as 9 p.m., we're going to be moving between 3 p.m., 2 p.m., 1 p.m., 12, and then over to 11, 10, and 9. So as you inhale, glide your gaze to the 3. Exhale, return to center. At your breath pace, inhale to the number 2 on the clock. Follow your exhale pace back to center and proceed one place on the clock at a time. You might notice how it is to move at the pace of the breath, so the eyes are relatively slow. And there may be places where the gaze is more difficult for you than other places. And once you have gone to the right and returned to center, that'll be the last one. And then relax and notice your arrival. Can you sense that which listens through you and that which sees through your eyes, whether they're open or closed? In yoga practice, we have this phrase, the seer, the seeing, and the seen. We are the act of seeing. We are that which is being seen, and we are the seer itself. Something that becomes important is that we can distinguish that which is real from that which is unreal. So we're going to do the opening invocation. You can bring your palms together at your heart. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. You may bow your head to your heart and release your hands. And as you're ready to, please open your eyes. Okay, so in the process of the suspensions, excuse me, I'm just putting the mouse aside. In the process of the suspensions, we are hoping to kind of drop back, especially with exhale suspension, so we can drop back into that sense that there is something listening through us, seeing through us, witnessing, observing, loving, experiencing itself through us. So the phrase from the Bhagavad Gita there is, we are the seer, the seeing, and the seen. We are the seer, we are the act of seeing, we are that which is being seen. It's a little bit of a Zen koan for some people, so allow that to be how you receive it just now. So to prepare for the process of moving into exhale suspension, we're going to do a little bit of a blowing off technique right now, which means that we're blowing off the excess CO2 and allowing the body and your blood cells to then uptake the O2 more effectively. So if your blood cells are kind of hoarding the O2 and you can't experience the next inhale coming in, having a place to land, a little bit like the bus comes to the bus stop, but it's totally full of passengers. No passengers get off, therefore no passengers can get on. And then the bus goes to the next stop. So if the inhale is being hoarded by the blood cells, you'll have this accumulation in your body of an unhelpful gaseous mixture. And that can sometimes lead to feelings of anxiety or fatigue or like brain fog and so on. So we're going to blow off the excess and then allow the body to uptake the next inhale, which is going to be rich with oxygen. We'll do an inhale suspension there, and then we'll exhale to relax. So for the blowing off technique that we'll use, we're going to do 30 strong exhalations out through the mouth as if you were blowing out a candle. This is a form of Bhastrika. So we're going to focus on so that it's a powerful like staccato exhale, exhale, exhale. Okay, let's begin. Now exhale long. Inhale slowly from the base of the pelvis upwards to an open, lifted chest where you're going to suspend the inhalation. Release the bandhas and then exhale slowly and completely. Allow yourself to deeply relax. It's normal to feel a little bit lightheaded. That does happen to people. So watch it fading if that's what's happening. We're going to repeat that practice. So at your own pace for the exhales. So one long exhale and then a slow, steady inhalation up to suspension, using all three bandhas when you get there. And then you'll release through the exhale in your own timing, a long, slow exhalation. Let's listen for the silence in the mind. I sometimes like to say the space between thoughts. That space is always there, only gets punctuated by thought. So listen for the space. Now we're going to practice what's called the physiological sigh. It means that we're going to be using a sigh for the exhale. The inhale is going to be a full inhalation to your capacity. Doesn't have to be particularly slow or fast. After that inhale, you're going to make a little sip of an inhale on the top. And that's going to require your diaphragm and your body to respond to that. And then exhale like you're sighing. You can exhale out the nose or the mouth. You can make a sound with the sigh if you want to. We'll do it 5 times. Let each breath have its echo and then do the next one. So don't rush to the next breath cycle. Okay, let's do the first one together. Inhale. And then sip and sigh. And 4 times more. And perhaps you're coming to your last one. And then sit quietly. Do one more seated practice before we stand up. So in this one, this is called Pratyaloma Pranayama in English, and in current day breath science, they call it inhale resistance, that you're applying some resistance for the in-breath to come in. It's going to retrain your diaphragm how to draw down for the inhalation. So for people who become like their tolerance for CO2 in their system, or they become shallow breathers and the O2 CO2 balance is not happening effectively, sometimes what's happened is the diaphragm is not very well conditioned for the inhalation anymore. It was at one time, but that can be interrupted. And then it can have a course change that it becomes altered. You can also bring it back, which is what this is about. So you're going to bring the first 2 fingers into the center of the palm, close the nostrils each part way at the same time. And then we'll inhale slow. It will be slow because you're closing off the nostrils. So the diaphragm has to work to draw the breath down into your lungs. Through the nose, it's going to vacuum the inhale into the lungs. For the exhale, again, like sighing, let it be simple and relaxed. Place your thumb and your ring finger In your own timing, inhale slowly. And then exhale like you're sighing. Begin the next round only when you feel ready to do so, and don't cause yourself to feel breathless. We'll do it 5 times altogether. And when you complete those, you can rest your hand back in your lap and listen for that which listens through you. And aim your attention to sense that which sees through you, senses through you. Okay, now we're going to be coming up to standing to do some of the preparatory practice for exhale suspension. So I'll take my microphone and head back to meet there on my mat. So in this process, we're going to use a chair for this part of the practice. And the idea is to have the arms be overhead in what we would think of as full extension of the arms this way. That's going to change how your body draws the inhalation in a similar way as closing the nostrils partly. This is going to give your body a chance to really use your diaphragm for the inhalation. We're also going to be a little bit inverted based on the height of the seat of the chair and based on the height of your hips. There'll be a slight downgrade, and that's going to make the exhale a little bit easier to access because the organs in the pelvis shift a little sort of like up and back when you're in this position. So come on down to place your hands on the seat of the chair like this. Step backwards. This is called chair dog. And as you step back, if your hamstrings are tight, bend your knees. And if for any reason the chair is too tall or too short, adapt it as needed. One of the ways to adapt is bending your knees. Put your body weight back into your heels and reach your hips back towards the wall behind you. Let's lift the base of the skull. So your spine, including your neck and then your throat, are going to be all in line from your sitting bones, tailbone, sacrum, all through the spine to the crown of your skull. Now let's use the Ujjayi inhale, because that is one other way that we cause a little bit of resistance for the breath. It's a sense of helping to slow down both the inhale and the exhale. So listen for the whispering sound of your Ujjayi. Listen to it through the inner ear. Begin to balance your inhale with your exhale so the length of each is equal and sustainable for you. And then press down against the seat of the chair, step forward and rise up to mountain pose. And when you come to mountain pose, allow yourself to relax for these few moments where nothing much is happening. Simply feeling that which feels through you, sensing that which senses through you. Okay, so now we're going to add the exhale that becomes, let's call it exhale pause, but it's going to be the first part of exhale suspension. So there's a word in between those two things. And the reason I'm being clear like that is that exhale suspension is something that then becomes Uddiyana Bandha. So I want us to think that we're moving in stages and getting comfortable with. So what we're going to do here is at the end of an exhale, you'll have squeeze the low belly, and that's easier to do in this little bit of an inversion because the organs again have moved, in this case, up because you're inverted. They'll go up towards the abdomen. They'll actually fall forward. I think I said backwards last time, but I meant forward. So when that's occurring, you're going to exhale, squeeze, and then we're just going to relax the exhale muscles and listen for the suction that comes. Make it somewhat brief, and then tone the belly before inhaling. Okay, so place your hands again at the seat of the chair, step yourself back. When you come to the end of your first complete exhale and you've squeezed the breath, kind of like squeezing a sponge, you're then going to relax the muscles that squeeze the breath without inhaling. Right? And so you're going to sense there this little bitty vacuum, and then tone the muscles before you inhale again. And then when you're ready to, press down against the chair seat, walk yourself forward, and once more, please stand up in mountain pose and let it be really relaxed. So you're just noticing the echo of that experience there. You're also kind of notifying your body about where you're going in the practice, and that is helpful to prepare your body rather than just leaping into exhale suspension. Okay, so to get a little bit more of an inversion in the torso, what we're going to do now is take a wide stance, and that could be about the length of one leg. When we come down, we're going to walk the hands forward so that you do again sense that the arms are in extension. Now, if your flexibility is such that you can't have that kind of position, then raise your hands up on a couple of blocks and honor your hamstrings. Okay, so come down to Prasarita Padottanasana, walk your hands forward, and as you walk forward, resume the Ujjayi breath, reach your hips back towards the wall behind you. As you're exhaling, notice that you may have greater access to the muscles just above the pubic bone. And do your best to squeeze the exhale out slowly and thoughtfully. At the end of that exhale, again, you'll be releasing the exhale muscles without inhalation. As always, you're going to tone the muscles before you inhale so you're not gasping. Let's do 2 more rounds. You can always pause between breath cycles. No need to be in any kind of hurry. When you complete those breath cycles, walk your hands back towards your feet, up your legs to your hips, and please rise up to standing. And we'll go heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe in. Okay, great. So now we're going to use a little bit of a back bending position so that you can sense the movement in the diaphragm and the upper part of the abdomen. So let's take a blanket, and you're going to be folding it in thirds like this. So you have a little back bend available like that. I'm going to do this very simply with these household items because not everybody has a folding chair like this. So if you have a folding chair, we did it. We sometimes use the edge of the folding chair padded by a blanket to do the same kind of back bend technique. And we did that in yesterday's pranayama practice. So you could check that out as a review if you want to. But some people don't have this kind of chair, and then what to do. So with this blanket, we're going to be doing a little bit of a back bend. If you'll set it so that you can lean back over it, this is where your shoulder blades are going to be. Lie on your back. Interlace your fingers behind your head and rest your knuckles on the floor so your head doesn't have to drop back very far. I'm going to suggest that you keep the elbows pointing up towards the ceiling or towards the wall behind you a little bit, because when the elbows flare apart, then what you have is the likelihood of collapsing where the head is. So if you clasp the hands so that you keep them relatively straight like this, the heels of the hands are going to be supporting the back of your head. So your head is not currently lower than your heart. And let's inhale with the Ujjayi. Take your time. Remind yourself that you want to inhale in the first, middle, and upper thirds of the torso. And then as you exhale, take it slow and steady. At the end of the exhale squeeze, without inhalation, deeply relax your exhale muscles. And then tone the belly before you do the next in-breath. Try that. We'll do it 3 times more. So it's a simple, slow inhalation, no rushing or urgency, a full trunk inhale. Slow, steady exhale, and then the function of the exhale suspension. What you might notice at the end of the exhale, you squeeze it out, and without inhaling, you're relaxing. What you might notice is that there is a suction quality in the abdomen, and you may be able to sense that near your floating ribs. That is a helpful thing to be sensing. At the end of your next breath cycle, go ahead and roll to your side and come up to sitting for a moment. Okay, so what's going to happen next is that in the same position, what you experience there at the floating ribs, we're going to do what's called a pretend inhalation or a mock inhalation. So again, what we're doing is squeezing the breath out using certain muscles, right? Squeezing, and then those muscles relax. There's a natural suction in the inner body. And this time you're going to add to that suction by making a pretend inhalation. When you're doing a back bend over the blanket, my hope is that you feel that pretend inhalation. You're going to feel your diaphragm moving under the ribs here. It'll be even more important now to release that suction by toning the abdomen before you inhale. Otherwise, you'll have a gasping sound. Of course, you can enjoy gasping if that's what you like, but I prefer the smooth transition. So shoulder blades on the blanket, please. If you lie backwards, interlace your fingers so that the heels of the hands are still together, and you're going to be supporting your head with the heels of your hands. Point your elbows up or slightly towards the wall behind you. And a slow Ujjayi inhalation. And a slow Ujjayi exhalation. We're not in a hurry. At the end of your exhale, you'll have squeezed the belly muscles. And then without inhaling, totally relax those belly muscles and make your pretend inhalation. And then recalibrate. From the upper chest, you can press down towards the abdomen. And that'll tone the belly muscles again, so you'll inhale without gasping. And sometimes people take a break between rounds here, so you can enjoy a breath cycle and then come back to your next smooth Ujjayi inhalation before the next exhale suspension. We'll do that one more time. So at your body's pace, one more time. Remember, it's a complete exhalation, as complete as you're able to make it be. And you're not going to cause yourself breathlessness by hanging out too long in the exhale suspension. And this time, as you release, go ahead and lay your head back on the floor. You can take the arms out into a T shape, or I like to put mine in cactus pose, which is like a saguaro cactus. The elbows are bent. You can drop your forearms back to the floor. If your forearms don't make it to the floor, please do put the arms out into a T shape. And just allow your body to really deeply relax and sense that which is moving the blood through your body, that which innervates you, that which keeps the metabolic process going, that which is breathing you right now. And then please roll to your side. Okay, so now we're going to practice that same concept, but we're going to do it in a little bit of a rotation for the body. So if you sense that, hopefully you sense it on both sides of your rib cage equally. Sometimes you probably sensed it one side more than the other. And now as we do this next exploration, what's going to happen is you may sense one of the psoas muscles on one side or the other. So depending on your flexibility, you can have the blanket now be there for your head. Not everybody needs that, but some of you might enjoy it. Just lie on your back with your knees bent. Take the arms into a T shape, and then let's drop both knees down to the right. So the pretend inhalation is the important part. I'm someone who doesn't need a blanket under my head, so I'm going to move that just for demonstration purposes. So here, when you get to that, you've squeezed the exhale out, and then you're going to make your pretend inhale. My hope is that you may be able to feel the inner belly on the left side, and particularly in this position into the upper region of the abdomen. So slow Ujjayi inhale, please. And then the slow Ujjayi exhale. Squeezing the breath out without inhalation, relax the belly, and then make your pretend inhalation. And then recalibrate from the upper to the lower. Tone the belly before you inhale. And try it one more time in this position. And then bring your knees to center and drop the knees down to your left side. As you come down to your left, if the right knee is hovering above the floor and it's comfortable, please let it be just like that. If you feel like you need support under your knee, go ahead and place a support there. And then again, smooth Ujjayi inhale. It is from the lower third of the pelvis to the mid third to the upper chest and heart. And then the slow exhale before the squeeze, release, pretend inhalation. When you complete the next one, raise your knees to center, relax the arms. And then roll up to sitting. Now, something to clarify on that last activity. I've been teaching yoga for 35 years, something like that. And I usually am mirroring my students. So I've said left when it's right forever. And ideally, we would have done the knees down to the left side first to address the right side of the belly first, the ascending colon. And then we would do knees down to the right to address the descending colon on the other side. So I apologize for that, but please make a note going forward that you're going to drop your knees to the left first, ascending colon, and then drop your knees to the right, descending colon. And of course, this is my right, but on your screen, it's my left. And that's why sometimes there's confusion. Okay, rest your hands over your knees. And this is where we get to now really practice the beauty of the exhale suspending. And let me ask us not to make the pretend inhalation on these ones. So we're going to do inhale, whatever length that is. And then we're going to have exhale, whatever length that is. And then you're going to have this exhale quiet. You're just going to be in the quiet. Right. So what we might do is draw this picture like this. We'll inhale, we'll exhale, and we'll just calmly abide. And then we'll inhale, exhale, and calmly abide like that. What's happening in that calm abiding is that we're going to squeeze the breath out, and we're just going to relax the exhale muscles and rest in there. We won't be also doing the big mock inhalation because that you can't sustain quite as long. You're just beginning the practice. Okay, so placing your hands over your knees, come into your Ujjayi in-breath. In your own timing, you'll also have the Ujjayi exhale. And then there'll be the beautiful silence of the exhale, pause, suspension thing. You may complete with your next exhale and then simply rest in quiet and meditation. As always, thank you for sharing your practice. I hope this has been meaningful and renewing for you. Maybe you learned a couple of interesting things. And if that to be the case, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel so we can keep sending you more really cool content about yoga. As always, leave your questions and comments down below. I love getting those. And like the video if it was helpful for you. That's also good feedback for us. Okay, see you next time. Namaste.